Thank you, Julieta. So as you mentioned, our first panelist today is Dr. Gael Pressoir from Quisqueya University in Haiti. Dr. Pressoir is the Dean of Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at Quisqueya University, and he's the Adjunct Vice Rector for Research. He's also the founding director of CHIBAS, the Haitian Center for Innovation in Biotechnology and Sustainable Agriculture. Dr. Pressoir is a Haitian national, as he likes to call himself, trained as a sorghum breeder and applied plant geneticist with the French Research Institute for Development, IRD, with the CIMMYT and with Cornell University. He also has founded the CHIBAS in 2010 with sorghum and edible Jatrova breeding programs. He has steadily expanded the Haiti's crop improvement research portfolio into the current CHIBAS team of over 40 staff members, and this is led by 7 new research faculty members at Quisqueya University. His breeding program, especially the one on aphid-resistant sorghum, has impacted over 300,000 Haitian smallholder farmers who literally depend on sorghum for their livelihood and food supply. And he made considerable contribution to the productivity of the Haitian agriculture. Thank you, Gael, for joining us today. And the title of his presentation is going to be from experimental to experiential research station, taking science and learning to the farmer fields, a practical approach to experiential learning and university community engagement. Gael, please, the floor is yours. You can share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lula, and thank you for hosting us today. So I'm going to have a very short presentation because I understand it was not necessarily to be a presentation. So let me share my slides. Okay, all should be good. So we're going to be talking, so the title of my slides, as mentioned by Rula, is from experimental to experiential learning research station. So as mentioned by Rula, I'm Gael Pressoir, the Dean of the School of Agriculture and Environmental Science at Quisqueya University. So don't worry too much about the slides. It's going to be very short. It's going to be mostly me talking about our experience, to see the slides more as a guide to our conversation. So research, why experiential research? It's that in Haiti, research is all about solving problems. It's about solving problems at the farm, the agro-industry, the community, or the national level. And Haiti is a country with many challenges, as usually most of you hear about Haiti for all the bad reasons that can be heard. And Haiti's agricultural productivity is probably one of the lowest in the world. And there are many problems. Some of them are agronomics, some of them are sociological, affect the social tissue of the communities, and some of them are economic or more related to regulation and some of these other issues. So in a way, we need at the university, and it is the role of the university to solve and at least contribute in solving these issues. And so we are probably now one of the Haiti's leading university in establishing a really mission-driven research program. The idea is really to transform Haiti's agriculture and agro-industry and really bring solutions from the farm level all the way to the national level and work with the communities. And that brings that when you're training engineers, it's all about problem solving. So when you're a university doing research to solve many of the issues facing Haiti, and the fact that our productivity at par with Madagascar is probably one of the lowest in the world on average for cereals, under 1 ton per hectare. And it's no better for our roots and tuber, our bananas, and so on. So it's a great opportunity to take our students to our fields to learn about problem solving, to learn about leadership and engagement, to do experiential learning in different fields. And it's great that they are actually in a team in which we have sociologists, economists, we have plant breeders, we have trained agronomists, and our research is really multidisciplinary. So in a way, the students get to learn how to solve problems with our researchers, but not just with our researchers, also with the communities that they are in. And this is essential to our approach because when we're doing experiential learning, it's not just the researcher or the students or the farmers. It is actually something that needs to go both ways in all possible interaction between these different players. Is that we're not going to solve the community problems without getting engaged with the farmers, without getting the farmers to participate in our research. Because if we develop a rice variety, if we develop a sorghum variety, and it's not adoptable or adopted by the farmers, it doesn't respond to real problems, that we don't work with the farmers to anticipate their needs, to assess their needs, but they tell us their needs and they evaluate our research, then we're probably not going to do a good job. So we have what we call product placement trials. Whatever the technology we develop, whether varieties, whether new best practices or other technologies, we need to co-evaluate them with the farmers. And that's where we're getting a lot of our students engaged and doing a lot of participatory research that goes back and forth, in which basically we try to co-innovate with the growers, adapting new technologies with them. So this experiential learning is, first of all, for the researchers also. So we need to learn from the farmers, learning their needs, learning their response to our technologies. It's a field for the students because they're learning how to solve problems, how to engage with the communities, with the farmers in the field. And we currently do that for rice, sorghum, corn, common bean, peanut, the different roots and tubers and bananas. So we have research in a wide variety of crops, and we have researchers engaged in these wide varieties of crops, doing the agronomy, the plant breeding, the transformation, the post-harvest processing, the planting, and so on. And so I'm going to give a couple of examples. Is that right now what we had to face is often what we realized is in agronomy, we had a problem with planting density. That problem involves many problems that their farmers were facing, like shortage of workforce, like not having the right tools, and so on. So right now we have a number of students that are involved and basically working with the different communities that we're working with. And we now have over 10 of these regional research stations where we send our students. We send our students not just to do their agronomy thesis, but we send them beforehand to do trainings, to do a lot of participatory trials with farmers. First of all, to learn about the process of carrying research with farmers, to learn about communicating with farmers, to understand how they're receiving a trial, how they're receiving a new technology, how they're getting engaged in the trial, so collecting the data. And then they learn how to build solutions themselves and their own thesis. So it's kind of a staged process in which the students first, by year 3 or 4 of their engineering degree, get with us for a few months in our research stations, our experiential learning centers, and they basically get involved in participatory trials with farmers. So they learn to communicate, so that they learn to assess the problems, so that they do diagnostics of the problems. So we're still very much into the learning process. When they'll come back, they have to do the whole process from the beginning, trial designs, identifying the problems, validating the problems with the farmers, and so on. So it's really a multi-stage process that involves experiential learning and also community engagement. So that community engagement is working with the community to identify and solve our problems. And here I emphasize the word our problems, because the idea is that not to bring the students to try to solve someone else's problem, but we're part of a larger community. We're part of a larger national interest. So all of our research is carried on a mission not just to transform higher education. And I mentioned by Rula and Julieta at the beginning, we're part of a larger project with Quisqueya, American University of Beirut, to transform higher education. But it's also, we have a country to transform. We're part of a larger mission. And our students need to understand their role into being transformer, not just of themselves, learning and building a career and learning how to engage and learning how to solve problems, but also learning to get engaged and to transforming communities, learning how to get engaged and transforming a country. So, because as a university, as professors, and we hope the same of our students, we're here to transform. And we're here to solve problems for our country. So this is basically what we've been trying to achieve with these research stations, is basically getting our students everywhere to be involved in their communities, to be involved and we often send the students to their communities and also to another community, so that the students really get to, I would say, learn about these different processes of research, problem solving, learning different disciplines in agronomy and plant breeding and socioeconomics, learning to communicate with farmers and to interact with farmers and getting engaged in solving a problem in a community and all that implies, and doing it with certain values that they bring and that they acquire in the community. So really what I wanted to talk about today was really this multi-stage process that our students get engaged with to get their agronomy degrees at Quisqueya. And it's part of a larger scheme, a larger plan to not only get in the ground, engage with the community as students, but largely to put the university at the heart of the innovation system and to put the university at the service of the different communities. And Rula mentioned some of our past success, like bringing sorghum back that had been wiped out by a new pest that emerged in Haiti. We're now doing the same approaches in all the different crops, such as rice, beans, sweet potato, different roots and tuber, and taro is another species that got almost wiped out by a disease in Haiti and that we're bringing back. We are also in many communities already achieving to double crop productivity and introduce new innovations such as small-scale mechanization. And our students are always involved in all of these work that we hope to achieve the same impact that we did in sorghum, and we're starting to see these impacts. So I think I'm getting pretty close to my 10 minutes. And so this is all about fulfilling a unique vision for change, in which we're bringing not only the research stations to the regions, but we're also in the process of moving the whole university, the whole agriculture campus closer to the farms and getting it out of Port-au-Prince. So we have now 9 research stations. We're building 12. We're incubating, we hope to incubate hundreds of agribusinesses. We are already in process of doing this. Some of our students have created a few of them. Haiti's agricultural production hopefully will be doubling, and Haiti's agro-industry needs to also increase their productivity. And our varieties and other technology would be widely used, and our researcher and former students will be transforming the nation. This is where we're going, and that's why I say beyond our experiential learning, our applied research, our community engagement, this is our vision to transform Haiti and bringing the research in the fields. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gael, for your presentation. And well, there's a lot of important ideas that in your presentation. I just want to remark this this idea that you present that, well, that our students, or in your case, Quisqueya students, and I'm doing your words like mine too, like they need to understand the role of being transformers. No, this is the idea, how we can, and this is our challenge as professors, how we can do that our students feel and understand and commit being the transformer of the rural realities and their, as you mentioned, the realities of our country. So I think that, well, it's a motor, it's a very strong idea. Just, I would like to know how, and we don't have a lot of time, but can you share a bit about how do you work in a multidisciplinary, or how do you work in multidisciplinary research? How are you sharing with other, I understand that other faculties or other professionals?
Okay, so I'll give one concrete example of what we're currently doing. So I'll take the example of a student who is just starting her thesis. And so her name is Schmidt-Nevelus. And now she is actually starting her graduating thesis. So she carried some training before, but we're at the stage where with different researchers, she tried to see where she could go for doing her thesis. And so we went into the communities with her, and we went into the review of the different research that the university had done. And she's currently doing a thesis on the role of small mechanization to address multiple problems. And she's a student from agroeconomics. And so she decided to focus her thesis on doing some experiential economics, experimental economics. So yeah, the bias of using too much experiential, but experimental economics. So the idea is that she's creating a small company to basically offer the farmers the service of small mechanization. And it's a project that she conceived with the professors of plant breeding, the professors of agroeconomics, and the professor of mechanization. So she co-worked her thesis with these 3 professors, trying to address how do we deliver improved technologies to the farmers and solve some of the issues that they are facing. So Schmidt is going to try, she's been over the past 3 months building some hypotheses with us, which are very goal-oriented, which is asking, what are my development goals? What do we want with the communities that I'll be working with to change? And so the thesis start with, what is it that we want to change? So it's not about, I'm going to do some cool statistics and I might do that. But first of all, let's start with what we want to change in the communities. And from that change, we ask, what are the solutions that we could test? And to start with a blank sheet and go to the communities. What are the problems? Go to the researchers. What are the problems that these communities are facing? And so she laid out some things, and we came up with a potential solution that she's going to start to test as part of her thesis. And so what we did is going through the whole process of first identifying the problems, going through the solution, the potential solution, doing a ex situ evaluation, and now assessing it with the farmer, and then moving on now to, okay, we're going to design an experiment, which is going to be participatory research, in which I'm going to go to the farmer's field and I'm going to offer a service to the farmers. And they're going to be my evaluators. Like, they're going to tell me, like, am I going to purchase that service? Am I not going to purchase? What prices? So she's going to go all the whole process of experimental economics that my professors of economics would be better at describing than I would be. But the idea is that she designed the concept to be a way to deliver improved seeds. She designed the concept to be a way to test small mechanization. Can I improve the agronomics by planting at the right density and addressing the weed problem for the farmers? So she really did a tremendous work in basically designing a multi-layered solution, going back and forth between the different researchers in the team and the farmers. So this is one kind of experiment that one of our students is currently doing. I don't know if I answered your question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gael. Yeah, thank you, Julieta.